Howdy folks, this is Tim Rankin at Polyface Farms. I'm a rental farm manager for Polyface, and so we're over here at my rental farm where I have my animals, and I just wanted to show you some of the improvements that I've made on my broiler shelters so they're more efficient and don't take quite as much work. So the biggest thing is my automatic water system. I've got, well, I guess we'll start with what's at Polyface. At Polyface, every shelter has a 5-gallon bucket right here, and this black hose sticks in the bottom of the bucket. So you got to fill that bucket up anywhere from once to 3 times a day when the chickens are real big and getting close to butcher, and especially if it's hot outside. So when you have a lot of shelters, I think I've got 11 here, but I've run a lot more than this before. Carrying all those buckets in the middle of the day when it's super hot becomes quite the chore, especially on Sunday mornings or something. So my older brother and I designed this automatic water system so that we don't have to carry buckets anymore, and it's so nice. I've actually been running this system for 3 years now, so it's proven and it works really good. So we've got 5/16 maple syrup tubing coming from water at the edge of our field. Usually this would just go straight to a cow tank, and we'd have buckets sitting around and you have to scoop the water out and carry it in buckets. But I run this up to a garden hose because I have to have a adapter here to go to garden hose size. It goes into a filter, which I can show. You want to have a filter on here because if algae comes down, if your line grows algae, it might jam up your system. You can see there's some green stuff in there, but this is just a super fine mesh filter. This air hose, this water line doesn't grow very much algae because I think the maple syrup tubing has some sort of inhibitor in the plastic that makes it so algae has a hard time growing. Alright, so it goes through the filter and then into a pressure reducer because we've got like 60 psi water, and those waters can only take like 2 to 10 psi. So this pressure reducer is adjustable. I probably have it at 5 psi. And then that goes to a Y valve, which then goes to 3/16 maple syrup tubing. Now, I've set this system up at a couple other rental farms for some of our other farm managers, and we now just use the bigger 5/16 size because they have adapter pieces, and it carries more water than the 3/16, but the 3/16 works fine for me. I haven't really had any problems with the smaller size. So this side goes to these 5 pens, and then it splits, and this side goes, the other side goes to the next 6 pens. And the reason that we have this in the middle is that if I were to put this at the one end, by the time the water got to the other end, there wouldn't hardly be any left. The chickens on the line would drink all of it, and then the last chickens would have to wait till all the other chickens were done drinking. So this 3/16 line will do, I think I've run up to 8 shelters in a row, but if you put more than 8, the last pens start not getting enough water. And so that's probably why we switched to 5/16, because it should be able to do like 10 or 12, no problem. So when I have a row of 11, I've got to put it in the middle because it'll easily put water to 5 or 6 shelters. Alright, so then we just kind of tuck the hose through the chicken wire on the side here. It comes up to the middle, and these all have little wire hooks on here, but now on the new systems I've set up, we just tuck one of the sides through the wire and it holds it there. Super easy, we don't have to put any wires on or anything. And then this is a little 3/16, 3/16, 3/16 T, because this black hose that the waterers are made for is 3/16 and fits right on there. It's not very much pressure, but it's got pretty good flow. So all these fittings we can just pull apart. If we need to move these shelters and put them on a trailer or something, you just pull the hose off, coil it up on the back, and you're ready to go. Anyway, and then it runs down. Let's show this way. We toss it up on the back of the pen so it's out of the way. It tucks in right here. Comes down the side. Tucks in through the chicken wire here again. And then to another T. Comes down the side. Tucks in this chicken wire. And then we have this loop here so that we can pull the shelters, because we always pull the shelters starting at the front. We can pull the shelter 2 full lengths with this amount of hose, and you need to have 2 full lengths to be able to over pull that shelter, just in case there's like a big rock or a hole or something. Sometimes you have to pull the shelters a little out of order and go a little further than normal. So that's why I did 2 full lengths, and I'm really glad I did, because I've had to use it quite a few times. But most of the time, we'll only use half of this loop when we pull the shelter. And this loop is 48 feet long. The shelters are 12 feet long. Anyway, you can just do 50 foot. That's easy to do too, and that works just as good. All right, I think that's all about the water system. Let's go up here. This is a standard dolly that we use to move these. We've got like 20 of these at Polyface and around our different farms. Now, I made this one because I wanted it to be taller. Most of them are a little shorter, and that's kind of a pain for me. And I wanted to modify a little bit. These pegs are usually only about 1 inch tall. And when you stick the dolly under the pen, I'll show you in a minute. When they stick the dolly under the pen, these pegs catch it and keep the dolly from going too far. But if the little short pegs ever get inside and go underneath the back of the dolly, it's a real pain to get back out. So I made these taller, and I've only had this one go under the dolly like once or twice. And so that really helps, and really helps me be faster. So let's move a couple. So I'm just going to kick this under here, pull up on this handle a little bit, slip that under. And then I'll check to make sure. I do not want this hose to get caught under the edge of this pen. Otherwise, I've cut one hose because the tin's a little sharp on the bottom. Now this hose is super tough, but if you pull hard enough and it gets caught in something sharp enough, it will cut. Take the feeder out. I'm going to walk off 12 feet. Got to figure out where I can drop that exactly where I need it. So I'm going to pull these just like we pull the shelters at Polyface.